Is it talking about World War III?
Prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Crisis coming for Syria. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Whoa. Prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Hey, crisis coming for Syria. Look, I done seen 2 woes and a third on its way, so you know it's time to go. Christ gave me this here book, said let everybody know. When he come back, he gonna do some things you never seen before. Burn your clothes, or burn my foes, or burn my woes, or burn your souls, or burn your eyes, and make it come right through your skull. And now you know, man, America gonna turn it to a big ass tray, and Antarctica gonna turn it to a big ass lake. Hold up, hey, prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Crisis coming for Syria. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Whoa. Prophecies need to hurry up. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Hey, crisis coming for Syria.
We dropping bombs on America. Clear this whole land like some real estate developers. Ashkenazi Jews look like undercover predators, revealing all your sins. Tell your judgment on these hips. All I see is dead people, you can hear the violence. I don't mess with red people, I don't care that he my twin. All we know is war, tear your whole shoulders from their limbs. Christ a goat, but not a goat, we just waiting on the lamb. Look,
prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Crisis coming for Syria. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Whoa. Prophecies need to hurry up. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Hey, crisis coming for Syria.
Prophesying, activate angels for vengeance, so drop the bombs. Instructions fulfill them scriptures by missiles on vagabond. No resurrection to eat them. A camel went through a needle. Of prayers from all the people come faster than Amazon. Now flip the switch, what goes around comes around. Like Virginia, Jamestown, when they dock the ships, crackers touchdown. Messiah return at the trumpet sound. And Lebanon gon' burn like it's written in Isaiah. Ashkenazi gon' burn in a big ass lake. Whoa.
Prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Crisis coming for Syria. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Whoa. Prophecies need to hurry up. Whoa. Dropping bombs on America. Whoa. Ashkenazi getting scarier. Hey, crisis coming for Syria. Whoa.
We hit the block in the thousands. Hey. From Detroit to Ghana, from old block back to the islands. Reach. The army of God, we here to clean up the problems. Preach. That fervent heat, some more on the beat. So who finna pay with his blood in the streets? Shush. They said the revolution wouldn't be televised, but we stand today and got the petrified. Our own lives we willing to jeopardize for the word of God. The saints to weaponize. We the dry bones that the text describe. The prophecy that got them mesmerized. My real Jews gon' stand the test of time, but the ones that bug and push the pesticide. We in the tabloids, y'all in your feelings. We standing up to fight for our people, cause we tired of the killers. We going live in a minute. We here to rise at the remnant. Y'all see we obviously different. Chosen for this 144, just how it was written. We hit the block in the thousands.
Hey, Israel, shalom, shalom. We back with History in the AM, Officer Jezreel. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, so we're gonna jump right into it. Last time I taught, I went over the split. So I went over the split from Israel. It's called the split from Israel to the Gentiles. Now I'm doing part 2. I wanted to go into part 2. Not gonna be a long class, but I just wanted to. I'm gonna do a little recap, do a little review, just to refresh our memory what we went over. And then we're gonna jump into going into the history, Cornelius, when Peter met Cornelius and so forth in Acts 10. All right, like I said, we probably got some new people online, so we're gonna being repetitive is good. Being repetitive is good. All right, being repetitive is good. All right, so this is history we got to know. All right, this is history that we have to know. As you know, like the Christian church tell you to omit the Old Testament. All right, they say the Old Testament is done away with, God's laws are done away with, right? But when you get to the New Testament, now you're confused. You think the Gentiles is every nation, and that's not what the Bible's speaking of, right? So guess what? You got to go back to the Old Testament. You got to go back to the Old Testament. So that's what I did. We went back to the Old Testament to show the split. What happened? How we became Gentiles. All right, how we became Gentiles and heathens. All right, now, so let's go back to we're gonna briefly go back, recap the split real quick. Go to we're not gonna be all over the place, so get me 1 Kings 11 16.
1 Kings chapter 11, verse 16. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. And they arose out of Midian, and they came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran.
Get me 1 Kings 12. I just want to hit some key points so I can move on. 1 Kings 12, and you can start at 12. 1 Kings 12 and 12.
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 12.
Read.
So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day.
So remember Jeroboam, right? He took over. Remember, he was the Lord by the prophet Ahijah came to him to let him know, listen, you're going to be taking portion of the 10 tribes, okay? Because of the sins of Solomon, he said you're going to rent the kingdom, you're going to take a portion of the 10 tribes, right? You're going to be over that portion. Read on.
As the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the 3rd day. And the king answered the people roughly.
So King Solomon had a son named Rehoboam. So Rehoboam was foolish, man. All right, he didn't know nothing. He didn't know how to govern. He didn't know anything. Right, because he wasn't around his father. Think about it. King Solomon, all he's worried about is the women. All he worried about is the women. Remember, he subject his loins unto women. So he didn't really raise his son the way he should have to become a king. So now his son is in that position as king. A foolish king. Right? Read.
And forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him.
Read 13 again.
And the king answered the people roughly.
Rehoboam, go ahead.
And forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him.
So he forsook the counsel of the wise men that was around his father when King Solomon was ruling. Go ahead.
And spake to them after the counsel of the young men.
So he went with the counsel of the young men. The counsel of men that have no understanding. Novice. That's the counsel he went with. His peers. He went with the counsel of his peers. Now, your peers don't know, your peers know just about as much as you know. They're your peers. Why wouldn't he go to the experienced men? You understand? Give me Sirach real quick. Sirach 39. Give me Sirach 39. This is what Jeroboam should have did. Real quick. Sirach 39, you can start it. No, I'm sorry, Sirach 6. Sirach 6 and 32. Yep. And this is what we got to do today.
Sirach chapter 6, verse 32. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught.
So if we desire, then we shall be taught. Read.
And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent.
Hey, if we apply our mind, we should be wise. That's what the word prudent means. Read.
If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding.
And if we love to hear, we shall receive understanding. We shall receive understanding, but we must love to hear. How can we hear? We got to be around. We have to be around the leadership. We got to seek to be around the leadership in order to hear. Right? Go ahead.
And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise.
And if we bow our ears to listen, then we shall be wise. Read.
Stand in the multitude of the elders.
So this is what Rehoboam should have been doing. Standing in the multitude of the elders, not the multitude of your peers. And this go for us today. We can't be standing in the multitude of our peers. We have to stand in the multitude of the elders. Why? With the elders, they have experience. That's why the Lord set them up to lead us, because they have experience. They are able to guide us with wisdom, according to the Bible. Read.
And cleave unto him that is wise.
And cleave what?
Unto him that is wise.
And cleave unto him that is wise. Stay near him that is wise. Don't leave his side. Read.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse.
Read that again.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse. Okay? So we got to be willing. You got a lot of brothers that travel, man, to hear. That travel to apply their mind. Some brothers drive like 17 hours to hear the leadership, to be around the bishops, the deacons, and so forth, right? To hear that wisdom, to hear that understanding. So likewise for us today, we got to do the same. Rehoboam didn't do that. He didn't do that. He thought he knew what he was doing. He went to the council of the old men, but he like, nah, I don't like that. I don't like what y'all talking about right now, right? But we knew it was all of the Lord. Read on.
And let not the parables of understanding escape thee.
Right. Read.
And if thou seest a man of understanding.
And if we see a man of understanding, read.
Get thee betimes unto him.
Get to him early. Get to him early. Read.
And let thy foot wear the steps of his door.
Right. Whether it's make a phone call, whether you driving 17 hours, whether you driving 3 hours, whether we driving 2 hours, we got to get there. It's our duty. It will behoove us. Likewise, myself, it will behoove us to wear out the footsteps, to travel, make that time, set aside that time to go see the leadership, to be around the leadership, not your peers. Your peers they ain't gonna do it for you. They, like I said, they know just about as much as you do. Okay, all right. So let's go back.
1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Right, because King Solomon, what he was doing was, remember he was dealing with heathen women. So these heathen women came with what? The other gods. So as he got older and fell in love with these heathen women, they turned him away from God and turned him to their God. So he started building temples for them. In order to build those temples, guess what? He was taxing us. So that's why the Northern Kingdom like, yo, tell him to make our yoke lighter. Hey, go back to that book that we had the week before, History of the Jews, Heinrich Graetz. I'll show you what page. Just go through it. The books from last week. You have those, right? Or 2 weeks ago? Real quick. Just want to show you. Just want to recap on what happened. Why are we saying, yo, listen, make our yoke lighter, man. Your father put heavy burden upon us with taxing us. Okay, this is it. Let me see. That's it? All right, I want where by King Solomon, the split. Let me see. No, man, that's not. Yeah, no, they probably under your Telegram. I used them 2 weeks ago, these pages. They probably under your Telegram, Officer Me Dad. I think I sent them to you. One second, Israel. Yeah, I think I sent them to your Telegram. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. I just want to get to the point. Hold on. Go ahead. Go. That's it? Okay. Go to the next one. With Rehoboam. Go to the next page. Okay. Nope. Hold on, let me see what this one is saying. Yeah, it said something about the taxes when we was taxing them. Hey, just read unnoticed. Let me see if I go.
Unnoticed by Solomon, another cloud which threatened Israel with destruction was gathering in the north. Rezin of Zobah, one of the servants of King Hadadezer, whom David had overthrown, had taken to flight after the defeat of his sovereign. He assembled a predatory troop and made raids in the districts lying between the Euphrates and the northern ranges of the Lebanon.
Hey, go to the next page. I'm just trying to find that one part. Go ahead, next page. All right, blow this up. Let me see. I thought we read it. Sheesh. Go down. Next page. Damn, I thought we for sure read that. Nope. Next page. Let me see. Hey, start here. Start up Solomon's brilliant rule.
Solomon's brilliant rule, however, became the source of a serious division between the tribes.
Yeah, that's it, I think. Yep. Read.
Which he had unavailingly striven to consolidate into one indissoluble whole, notwithstanding that the temple formed a bond of union for the whole people, and that Solomon tried to abolish the tribal isolation which prevailed. He succeeded only in the case of Benjamin, which became more closely united with Judah.
So Benjamin came with Judah, all right? Go ahead.
This was owing to the fact that the temple was built on Benjamite territory, and consequently several Benjamite families settled in the capital. Probably Solomon also preferred the tribe of Benjamin and his own ancestral tribe to the other tribes. The mutual dislike of the houses of Israel and Judah, or the northern and southern tribes, had not ceased. Among the northern tribes,
read this part slow.
Among the northern tribes, a deep sense of discontent prevailed against Solomon.
So among the northern tribes, northern kingdom, a sense of hatred, discontent, resentment prevailed for King Solomon. Read.
Despite the prosperity to which he had raised them.
So he raised them to prosperity. Remember, King Solomon, look, everybody was living. We was in our kingdom at this time, right? Everybody was wealthy. The kingdom was flourishing under King Solomon, right? Read.
They resented the pressure put upon them to forward regular supplies for the court.
Read that again.
They resented the pressure put upon them to forward regular supplies for the court.
What pressure was put upon Northern Kingdom? Taxes. Tribute. Go ahead.
And to perform compulsory service in the erection of public buildings.
What public buildings? For King Solomon's heathen women. For the erection of their temples to their gods. Remember Chemosh, Molech, Ashtoreth. So he was built. So as he was putting up these temples to their gods, guess what? He was taxing Northern Kingdom. He was taxing us. That was the heavy yoke that we was like, that Northern Kingdom was like, look, man, take away the yoke that your father, the taxing. That's all he was asking. Read on.
Their discontent was not expressed aloud, but it needed.
So hold on. It said they discontent, their hatred wasn't expressed aloud. They kept it in. They kept it in until Solomon passed away, and then they came to Rehoboam like, look, man, you better take these taxes away from us. That's when the hatred started presenting itself after King Solomon died. Not while he was alive, after he died. Read.
But it needed only an occasion for it to vent itself.
And that was the occasion. The occasion was when after King Solomon died, and after he died, and then here you got Rehoboam, the foolish king. He speaks roughly to them. So now, since all that has brought out that has brought everything, that put everything on the table at that point. Everything was laid out on the table at that point. The hatred, everything just came to the forefront. Go ahead.
Wise as Solomon was, he had not sufficient foresight to perceive that his faults were sure to weaken the future security of the state.
Right. Go ahead.
Amongst the officials whom Solomon employed to supervise the buildings was an Ephraimite who was clever, courageous, and ambitious.
Right.
This was Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, from the town of Zerida or Zarathan, on the other side of the Jordan.
All right, that's it. You can take that down. You can take that. Let's go back. You can read 13 again.
1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 13. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke.
So he said, my father made your yoke heavy, your burden heavy with taxes. I'm going to add to that. Go ahead.
My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Read.
Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord.
So all of this was done. The Lord caused all this to be done, right? Go ahead.
That he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
Read.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David?
So now we like, yo, what portion we got in David then? We ain't got no portion with y'all. Go ahead.
Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse.
So we don't even have an inheritance with y'all. Go ahead.
To your tents, O Israel.
Yo, we out. We is out. Forget y'all. We going. We going to do our own thing. We going to set up our own king. Go ahead.
Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones that he died.
All right, you can stop. You can stop there. Give me. We're just gonna jump around. Recap. Give me. So now that's the split. That's what happened. Okay, that is the split right there. Now, Israel. Now get me Second Chronicles 11. 2 Chronicles 11:13. What happens now? Matter of fact, no. Stay there. Jump to verse 25. Jump to verse 25.
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 25.
Yep, read.
Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
So hold on. So Jeroboam is ruling now, right? He's ruling. He built Shechem, then Penuel, and verse 26 again.
And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. Now he's reasoning within himself, right? Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. Go ahead.
If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem.
So he said, the kingdom shall return unto the house of David if the people go up to sacrifice. Because why? That's where we had to sacrifice at. Because where? That's where the Lord chose us to go sacrifice, Jerusalem. Right? Go ahead.
Then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord.
See that? Go ahead.
Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah. And they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel.
So he concocted a plan. He said, if they go up to Jerusalem, then they're going to side with the house of David. They're going to side with Rehoboam. So he started concocting a plan, right? Read that again.
Whereupon The king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Now this is crazy because he went all the way back to say, look, these are the gods that brought you up out of the land of Egypt. 2 gold calves, right? Okay, so now he's concocting all of this so that what? They don't go to Jerusalem to sacrifice, right? Go ahead.
And he set the one in Bethel.
So one of those golden calves was set in Bethel, read.
And the other put he in Dan.
And he put the other in Dan, right? Dan was an idolatrous tribe. Go ahead.
And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
Right. So now the people are worshiping these golden calves. Go ahead. Idolatry. Now we in the midst of Northern Kingdom is in the midst of idolatry. This is the beginning of Northern Kingdom's idolatry. All right. Go ahead.
And he made an house
on a large scale. Go ahead.
And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people.
So he made priests of bums. The class that I did 2 weeks ago, like I said before, he put out an ad. He got rid of the priests of the Lord, got rid of them, and then now he on Indeed and what's these other Monster.com. Now he put out an ad looking for priests, a hiring ad, right? Go ahead.
And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Right, they're not the sons of Levi. Read on.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah.
Tabernacles. Go ahead.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
Right. Now, so this is the beginning, like I said, this is the beginning of Northern Kingdom's idolatry on a large scale. Now, give me 2 Kings 17. What happened to them? What happened to Northern Kingdom as a result of all this? 2 Kings 17:20. Like I said, we're just doing a little recap.
2 Kings chapter 17, verse 20.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel.
The Lord did what?
Rejected all the seed of Israel.
The Lord rejected all the seed of Israel. Read. Northern Kingdom. Go ahead.
And afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight.
Read.
For he rent Israel from the house of David.
So the Lord rent Israel from the house of David. We just read that. Read.
And they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king.
Uh-huh.
And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord.
Now, I just jumped to 2 Kings 17 when Northern Kingdom was about to be taken into captivity. But from Jeroboam up to this point, Northern Kingdom had no good king. There was no good king. Right? You had Omri, you had Ahab, you had Jeroboam, I think Jeroboam II. They all followed after Jeroboam. They all followed after the sin of Jeroboam, idolatry. No good kings. Okay, read on.
And made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them.
There you go. They departed not from them. There was not one righteous king in the Northern Kingdom. Every last king followed after Jeroboam, their father. No righteous king. Go ahead.
Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he has said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
So this is the beginning of the Assyrian captivity. 722 BC, the Assyrian captivity. Read.
And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel.
So you may ask yourself, why the hell he do that? Why he took Israel out the land and put heathens there? Hey, if you can find it, you know what I want? Give me that real quick. I think it's called the Jewish library, something like that. Virtual library, Jewish virtual library, and look up Assyrian. Real quick. Why would he take us out of our land? Hey, and if you can, find some pictures of Northern Kingdom going into captivity. The sculptures. Yeah, get this first. Just a little history. Yep. I want to get to the point. Let me see. Hey, type in policy. I don't know if you. Wait, I may see it. Let me see. Go down. Yep. Go. Oh. Start with beginning with the monarch. You gotta come down some so you can see, and blow it up. Damn, why you ain't put this in front of him? Hey, you brothers, man.
The beginning with the monarch, Tukulti Ninurta, 1235 to 1198 BC. Assyria began its first conquest. In this case, the conquest of Babylon. The Assyrian dream of empire began with the monarch, Tiglath-Pileser, 1116 to 1090, who extended Assyrian dominance to Syria and Armenia.
Hey, so Tiglath-Pileser, his name is also Pul. You'll read him as Pul in Isaiah. Pul, Tiglath-Pileser. Go ahead.
But the greatest period of conquest occurred between 883 and 824 under the monarchies of Ashurnazarpal II, 883 to 859 BC, and Shalmaneser III, 858 to 824 BC, who conquered all of Syria and Palestine, all of Armenia, and the prize of prizes, Babylon and southern Mesopotamia.
Read.
The Assyrian conquerors invented a new policy towards the conquered.
This is what I wanted. So the Assyrian conquerors, they invented a new policy towards the conquered. What was the policy? Read on.
In order to prevent nationalist revolts.
In order to prevent what?
Nationalist revolts.
Rebellions. Go ahead.
By the conquered people. The Assyrians would force the people they conquered to migrate in large numbers to other areas of the empire.
So there you go. That's what happened. Now you see why they deported us out of our land and put these heathens in our land. It was all a policy so that we lose our identity. Right? Read on.
Besides guaranteeing the security of an empire built off of conquered people of different cultures and languages, these mass deportations of the populations in the Middle East, Mesopotamia, and Armenia turned the region into a melting pot of diverse cultures, religions, and languages.
Right. So once he put these other nations in our land, once he put these other nations in our land and so forth, it became a melting pot. All right, it became a melting pot. So the start of him doing that, is why you read in, why when we go back, when you read in Nehemiah, in Ezra and Nehemiah, when we going back into our land, these are the same nations that was coming against us, that was against us rebuilding. Those are the nations that he put in that were put in the land by the Assyrians. Go ahead.
Whereas there would be little cultural contact between the conquered and the conquerors in early Mesopotamian history. Under the Assyrians, the entire area became a vast experiment in cultural mixing.
You see that? So it became a vast experiment of cultural mixing. So they did this. This was their policy for us to not have any ties to our land, so it wouldn't cause any national revolts and rebellions or anything like that. All right, so the whole point was for us to lose our identity, mix amongst the people, learn their religions, learn what they're doing. So just like America right now, America's a melting pot, right? So that's what they were doing. Okay, read on.
It was the Assyrian monarch Sargon II, 721 to 705 BC, who first forcefully relocated Hebrews after the conquest of Israel, the northern kingdom of the Hebrews. Although this was a comparatively mild deportation and perfectly in line with Assyrian practice, it marks the historical beginning of the Jewish diaspora.
Right. Go ahead.
This chapter in the Jewish diaspora, however, never has been really written, for the Hebrews deported from Israel seem to have blended in with Assyrian society.
You see that? We assimilated. That's how we blended in. We assimilated. Go ahead.
And by the time Nebuchadnezzar II conquers Judah,
That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted us to do, assimilate. Okay? They didn't want any nationalism, anything amongst us. No, make sure they mix amongst everyone else. Make sure they learn everyone else's religion, culture, okay? And become what is known as being all-inclusive. Okay? Make sure everybody's included. Even learning our laws and so forth. Even learning our culture and what we do. Right? Go ahead.
and by the time Nebuchadnezzar II conquers Judah in 587 BC, the southern kingdom of the Hebrews, the Israelites deported by Sargon II, have disappeared nameless and faceless into the sands of northern Mesopotamia.
Damn, read that again.
By the time Nebuchadnezzar II conquers Judah in
Right.
587 BC, the southern kingdom of the Hebrews, the Israelites deported by Sargon II have disappeared nameless and faceless into the sands of northern Mesopotamia.
You see that? So we became nameless, faceless into the sands of northern Mesopotamia. All right. Now you had some prophets that was still around that still knew who they, we still knew who we were. But you had Tobit. Tobit was still, Tobit was in Nineveh, but Tobit was still keeping God's laws. You understand? He during the Assyrian captivity. So Tobit was one of those that went during the Assyrian captivity. Okay. This looked like Lachish. Y'all put in Assyrian captivity? This is Lachish. That's Southern Kingdom. Put in Assyrian captivity. Yep. Hey, I'm looking for this one where they got hooks and coming out their nose. That's what they did to us. They put hooks in our nose and transported us over. Like some horses with bridles on or something. You know what I'm talking about? All right. Until you get that, give me Hosea 1 and 9. Hosea 1 and 9, real quick.
Hosea chapter 1, verse 9. Then said God, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people.
Right. So now the Lord said, call the northern kingdom Lo-Ami, for they would not be God's people no more. Remember, the Lord removed northern kingdom out of his sight. All right. And then northern kingdom went into captivity on the Assyrian captivity. So read that again.
Then said God, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God.
Right. So he said, call their name Lo-Ami, for you are not my people. All right. So now, understand, northern kingdom is removed out of the Lord's sight for their idolatry. So they went to the Assyrian captivity. From that point on, they became not God's people. From that point on, northern kingdom became not God's people. All right? Not God's people. Now, let's go back to the New Testament. But first, I want to bridge a gap. Remember, I mentioned that the Assyrians, their policy was to deport us out of our land and bring heathens into our land. They deported us out of our land and put heathens in our land. Right? So, what happened between that time period? Give me Maccabees chapter 10, verse 38. What happened? So what happened between that time period of those heathens being in the land up until when we come to the New Testament. Were they still there?
First Maccabees, chapter 10, verse 38.
Let me see before you, let me see if that's what I want. Y'all found it? Nope. Yeah, I just wanted to show the history real. Was it First Maccabees? I said 10:38. Yep. You can start at 37. Start at 36.
Verse 36. I will.
Hold on. Let's read it. Start at 30. We're going to read it 38.
Verse 30. And from that which appertaineth unto me to receive for the third part of the seed, and the half of the fruit of the trees, I release it from this day forth, so that they shall not be taken of the land of Judea, nor of the 3 governments which are added thereunto out of the country of Samaria and Galilee, from this day forth forevermore.
Right. So this is under the leadership of Simon. This is under the leadership of Simon Maccabees. Right. So they awarded us our government back under our lands. Right. Go ahead, read that part again. So they gave us 3 governments in our land. Read it again. They added to us 3 governments, including Samaria and Galilee. So read that again.
And from that which appertaineth unto me to receive for the third part of the seed, and the half of the fruit of the trees, I release it from this day forth, so that they shall not be taken of the land of Judea, nor of the 3 governments which are added thereunto out of the country of Samaria and Galilee,
Read.
from this day forth forevermore.
Read.
Let Jerusalem also be holy and free, with the borders thereof, both from tenths and tributes.
So now it said, let Jerusalem also be holy and free, with borders thereof, both from tenths and tribute. So Esau, they're allowing us liberty now to do what we want back in our land. And unto Judea, we was able to add those governments of Samaria and Galilee. Read on.
And as for the tower which is at Jerusalem, I yield up my authority over it.
To us. So he's letting you know. I forgot what king is speaking. Let me see what king. Yes. Go to First Maccabees 10 and 15. Start at 15.
Verse 15. Now when King Alexander heard what promises Demetrius had said unto Jonathan, when also it was told him of the battles and noble acts which he and his brethren had done, and of the pains that they had endured.
So, my bad. That's Jonathan. Jonathan is under Jonathan's leadership. So now read 15 again.
Now when King Alexander had heard what promises Demetrius had sent unto Jonathan, which also it was told him of the battles and noble acts which he and his brethren had done, and of the pains that they had endured, he said, shall we find such another man? Now therefore we will make him our friend and confederate.
So now they look to make Jonathan their friend and confederate, ally. Read.
Upon this he wrote a letter, and sent it unto him, according to these words, saying, King Alexander to his brother Jonathan sendeth greeting. We have heard of thee, that thou art a man of great power, and meet to be our friend.
Read.
Wherefore now this day we ordain thee to be the high priest of thy nation.
So they ordained Jonathan to be the high priest of the nation. Read on.
And to be called the king's friend.
To be called the king's friend. Read.
And therewithal he sent him a purple robe and a crown of gold, and required thee to take our part and keep friendship with us.
Read.
So in the 7th month of the 160th year, at the Feast of Tabernacles, Jonathan put on the holy robe and gathered together forces and provided much armor. Whereof, when Demetrius heard, he was very sorry and said, what have we done that Alexander hath prevented us in making amity with the Jews to strengthen himself?
So it's a beef going on between Demetrius and King Alexander. They're both trying to gain the friendship of Jonathan. So they both like competing to gain Jonathan's friendship, right? Go ahead.
I also will write unto him words of encouragement.
So he's like, look, I'm going to write words of encouragement myself. I'm going to make it better than what he's talking about. Go ahead.
And promise them dignities and gifts.
And promise him what?
Dignities and gifts.
And promise Jonathan dignities and gifts as well. Read.
That I may have their aid. He sent unto them, therefore.
Because now, look, they want our help now. They like, look, man, we need their help. Go ahead. We can use them. Go ahead.
He sent unto them, therefore, to this effect. King Demetrius unto the people of the Jews sendeth greeting.
So the two kings are battling, competing. Who can send better gifts? Who can appease Jonathan better? Right? Go ahead.
Whereas ye have kept covenant with us and continued in our friendship, not joining yourselves with our enemies, we have heard hereof and are glad. Wherefore now continue ye still to be faithful unto us, and we will well recompense you for the things ye do in our behalf, and will grant you many immunities and give you rewards. And now do I free you.
And you say, now do I free you? Go ahead.
And for your sake I release all the Jews from tributes and from the customs of salt and from crown taxes.
So, hey, look, I'm gonna let you Jews become independent. Y'all can rule independently now. Go ahead.
And from that which appertaineth unto me to receive for the third part of the seed, and from the half of the fruit of the trees, I release it from this day forth, so that they shall not be taken of the land of Judea.
Right, because like today, there's taxes on all fruits. There's taxes on fruits. There's taxes on all our food and so forth. So here, they released us from all of that stuff. So nothing was to be taxed no more. All right, it was under all. It was all under our authority now. For example, you got with Trump. Trump is gonna. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to what's going on, but the tariffs. If you heard of the tariffs, Trump is planning to raise the tariffs, which is taxes on all imported goods, 25%. So you know what that's gonna do for Mexico, Canada, because think about it. All imported foods and goods and so forth come from outside the U.S., not inside the U.S. So Mexico, you got Mexico, they import us. They give us the fruits and vegetables and so forth. We get a lot of stuff from Mexico, from Issachar. Then you got Canada. Then you got China. They supply us with a lot of stuff. So he's going to raise the taxes on all imported goods. So you know what that's going to do? That's going to raise the taxes and prices on food. You know what that's going to create? A famine. That famine don't start because you just straight out starving. No, it start because the prices of food is too high. You can't pay for it. That's how a famine starts. I go into that next time I teach. But that's how a famine begins. It's not about you just straight out starving. Famine begins when you can't even pay for the food prices. Like eggs right now is high as about $7. Right? Eggs high as hell. Wings. Okay. So, but when Trump, when he gets into office, that's his plan. He's gonna raise food prices. He's gonna raise prices, all the goods. He's gonna raise prices on everything because he's gonna put taxes on all imported goods coming into America. All right, coming into Babylon the Great. All right, so read that again.
And from that,
but here, King Demetrius, the two kings, they releasing us from that. So we ain't gotta. They releasing us from any taxes they put on our agriculture and foods and all that. Go ahead.
And from that which appertaineth unto me to receive for the third part of the seed, and the half of the fruit of the trees, I release it from this day forth, so that they shall not be taken of the land of Judea, nor of the three governments which are added thereunto out of the country of Samaria and Galilee.
So what I wanted here is that there were three governments added to Judea that was added to us at this time, and that was Samaria and Galilee. Okay, remember, going back to the Assyrian captivity, they deported us out of our land and put the heathen in our land. Well, what you think we did with the heathen at this time once everything was given back to us? You thought we left them there? No, we kicked them out the land. We got rid of them. All right? So jump to 38, jump to 37.
Verse 37.
36, go ahead.
Verse 36, I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews.
Read 33.
Verse 33. Moreover, I freely set at liberty every one of the Jews that were carried captives out of the land of Judea into any part of my kingdom.
So he said, I even free at liberty any of the Jews. So guess what? We coming back into the land. Some of us was allowed to come back into the land and so forth. Right? Go ahead.
And I will that all my officers remit the tributes even of their cattle.
Read.
Furthermore, I will that all the feasts and Sabbaths and new moons and solemn days and the 3 days before the feast and the 3 days after the feast shall be all days of immunity and freedom for all the Jews in my realm.
Hey, look, man, y'all can keep y'all laws. You can keep your Sabbath, new moon. Y'all can do whatever y'all want. Y'all at liberty. You're independent now. Right? Because remember, when in the beginning of the Greek captivity, they forced us not to be Jews. They try to erase our identity. We couldn't call ourselves, we couldn't profess ourselves to be Jews. We couldn't even circumcise, or we'd be put to death. So they forced us to become Gentiles. And you had some of us that willingly became Gentiles during the Greek captivity. Okay, so read on.
Also, no man shall have authority to meddle with them or to molest any of them in any matter.
So read. So no man outside of us had any authority to even mess with us. Go ahead.
I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews, unto whom pay shall be given, as belongeth to all the king's forces.
Right. So this is going to play into Cornelius when I touch on Cornelius. So letting you know that we were in their armies. So he read 36 again.
I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews.
So he enrolled 30,000 of us. He enlisted 30,000 of us into his army, into the Greek army. Go ahead.
Unto whom pay shall be given.
And we were paid. Go ahead.
As belongeth to all the king's forces.
Right. Just like here in America. Just like during the Roman captivity that we're going to get into. We were enlisted in their armies. Go ahead.
And of them some shall be placed in the king's strongholds,
Uh-huh.
of whom also some shall be set over the affairs of the kingdom, which are of trust. And I will that their overseers and governors be of themselves, and that they live after their own laws, even as the king hath commanded in the land of Judea.
So we became an independent government at this time. Go ahead.
And concerning the 3 governments that are added to Judea from the country of Samaria,
See? And concerning the 3 governments that are added to Judea at this time, which was one was Samaria. Go ahead.
from the country of Samaria, let them be joined with Judea, that they may be reckoned to be under one, nor bound to obey other authority than the high priest.
So that's what I wanted, right? To let you know. So we kicked them out the land. Don't think that for a minute we gonna leave them in the land. Nah, they out. They out. They're gone. All right. So those governments, Samaria, Galilee, they were added back to us, and we became an independent state. We were ruling as an independent state government at that time. So now, when you go back, let's go. I touched on John 4. Let's go back to John 4. John chapter 4. John 4, and you start at verse 7.
John chapter 4.
Start at 4. You start at 4.
John chapter 4, verse 4. And he must needs go through Samaria. Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph.
Read.
Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me?
So she said, how is it that you, a Jew, askest me, a woman of Samaria, a drink? Read.
Which am a woman of Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Why? Why? We've been touching on this because of the split. The split went down. The split went down. Northern kingdom was carried into Assyrian captivity. The Lord said, y'all not going to be my people no more. That caused the beef. So it was an ongoing beef between northern and southern kingdom up until here. She's like, yo, we have no dealings with the Samaritan. Y'all don't even want to deal with us. Go ahead.
Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water?
Right. So what you mean? Where the living water gonna come from then? Go ahead.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
You see what she said? Art thou greater than our father Jacob? Our father Jacob. There's a conversation between Christ and a woman of Samaria. Give me Isaiah 7 and 9. Isaiah 7 and 9. Isaiah 7 and 9. Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
The head of Ephraim is what?
Samaria.
The head of Ephraim is Samaria. Samaria is the capital of Ephraim. Samaria is the capital of Ephraim. Read it again.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria. And the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If you will not believe, surely ye shall not be established.
All right, you go back. Go back. John 4 and use that verse 12.
John chapter 4, verse 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
So she said, are you greater than our father Jacob? Our father Jacob. Jacob was the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. So she's saying, yo, are you greater than our father? Letting you know they are the same nation. Go ahead.
Which gave us the well.
Which gave us the well. Go ahead.
And drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle.
Read.
Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Right. All right. Now, from there. So she was northern kingdom. She was an Ephraimite of the northern kingdom. Now, let's get Acts chapter 10. Acts chapter 10. Who was Cornelius?
Acts chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Hey, I got some pages. Go to those pages real quick. Read Acts 10 again, 10 and 1 again.
There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
The centurion of the band called the Italian band. The Italian band. All right. So go back to the right there. Yep. Read this. This is the book History of the Christian Church in early Rome.
After the capture of Jerusalem by Pompey, BC 63, a number more of Jewish exiles swelled the number of the chosen people who had settled in the capital. Cicero, when pleading for Flaccus, who was their enemy, publicly alludes to their numbers and influence. Their ranks were still further recruited in BC 51, when the lieutenant of Crassus brought some thousands of Jewish prisoners to Rome. During the civil wars, Julius Caesar showed marked favor to the chosen people. After his murder, they were prominent among those who mourned him.
Right. So I wanted to show you we had a Jewish colony in Rome. We was always in Rome. We was always in Rome. From the time of Pompey, even before. You see, read that at the beginning, the top.
At the beginning of the 1st century of the Christian era, the Jewish colony in Rome had attained large dimensions. As early as BC 162, we hear of agreements, we can scarcely call them treaties, concluded between the Jews under the Maccabean dynasty and the Republic.
Okay, so we was always in Rome during the time period of the Maccabees, even when Pompey captured us. Okay, we was always in Rome, always in Rome. All right. Go to, let me see the next page. Okay. Yeah, read that. Start at this interesting period. Right there.
At this interesting period, while Satan's kingdom fell like lightning from heaven before the preaching of the everlasting gospel, and the number of the Christians were daily increasing, a circumstance arose in the church which demanded the attention and engaged the wisdom of the apostles. The church, though consisting wholly of Hebrews, comprised two classes of persons.
So the church, though consisting wholly of Hebrews, comprised two classes of persons. Read on. Watch this.
One part understood
So one part, go ahead.
Understood only the Hebrew and Chaldee languages.
So one part of the Hebrews, remember the church was highly consistent of Hebrews, right? One part of them understood only the Hebrew and Chaldee language, right? Go ahead. Which was became called the Aramaic or whatever. Go ahead.
Which was used in their synagogues at Jerusalem and its vicinity.
Right. Watch this.
While the other
had been meaning what? The other part of the Hebrews. Go ahead. So we just talked about the one part. Now the other part of the Hebrews. Read on.
While the other had been accustomed chiefly to the use of the Greek language.
To what language?
Greek language.
To what language?
Greek language.
The other part of the Hebrews of Israel was accustomed to the Greek language. Read.
Into which the Old Testament scriptures had been translated. The versions which we now call the Septuagint.
Right. Go ahead.
And which had been for some time in common use previous to the coming of Christ.
Right. So the Septuagint was in use during the Greek captivity. It was translated during that time before Christ came on the scene. Read.
And all the Jewish synagogues dispersed throughout the cities of Greece.
Whoa. Read that again. Read it again. In all the
Jewish synagogues
dispersed where?
Dispersed throughout the cities of Greece.
Uh-huh.
As well as in Egypt.
So wait, who's Paul talking to? Paul is talking to Jews the whole time. Paul is talking Thessalonians in 1 Thessalonians, in Corinthians, the Romans, the Ephesians, Colossians, the Philippians, Galatians. Read that again.
And all the Jewish synagogues dispersed throughout the cities of Greece.
Read.
As well as in Egypt.
Uh-huh.
These last,
remember, these last of the church that consisted wholly of Hebrews, but there was two classes of them. Read.
Were called Hellenists.
They were called what?
Hellenists.
Read.
Or Grecians.
Or Grecians. Hold that. Give me John 19 and 20. 19 and 20.
John chapter 19, verse 20.
Let me get there with you. Oh, let me see. We can read that too, but that's not. It's John 12. My bad. John 12 and 20.
John chapter 12, verse 20. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast.
Start at verse 18.
Verse 18. For this cause the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle.
Mm-hmm.
The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing? Behold, the world is going after him.
The world of who? The Israelites. Go ahead. The world is going after him. Read.
And there were certain Greeks.
Go ahead.
Among them that came up to worship at the feast.
Now, why would the hell would they be Greeks coming to worship at the feast? Wow, because they were Israelites. They were coming to worship at the feast. Remember, we had to come up 3 times in a year. Passover, Tabernacles, and Pentecost. 3 times out the year. We had to come up and worship at the feast. So read that part again.
And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast.
Right. So there were certain Greeks among them that came to worship at the feast. Now go back to that John 20. I like that. That John, what was that? 19 and 20.
John chapter 19, verse 20. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city.
So this title then read many of the Jews. Read.
For the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city.
Read.
And it was written in Hebrew.
Read it slow. Read it slow. It was written how?
In Hebrew.
So it was written in Hebrew. Go ahead. Because
And
that's
Greek.
what we spoke. Go ahead.
And Greek.
Why in Greek? Because guess what? We spoke Greek. We spoke Greek. Go ahead.
And Latin.
Why Latin? Remember, we were scattered throughout Rome. We were scattered throughout Rome. We in the Roman Empire. We in the Roman captivity right now. Their language was Latin. Okay? So it was written in 3 languages that we spoke. So it was Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Now go back to the page. Go back to the page.
These last
Yep.
were called Hellenists.
So those Greeks that you read about were called Hellenists. That was us following Greek customs. That was us following Greek customs. Or what?
or Grecians.
Or Grecians. So look, he's talking about Acts chapter 6. Get Acts 6. Get Acts 6 and 1. Acts 6 and 1.
Acts chapter 6, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews.
So this is what he's referring to. Those Grecians were Israelites that spoke Greek, that followed Greek customs. When you read 2 Maccabees 4, when you read the Maccabees, you read in the Apocrypha, we were following Greek customs. Go ahead.
Because their widows.
Get that. You got to go back. Go back. Give me 2 Maccabees 4. 2 Maccabees 4 real quick. This is how we became Gentiles.
Second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 12.
Read.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners.
You see that? Heathenish manner, increase of heathenish manner. Read.
Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
Read.
That the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar.
Had no courage to serve at the altar. Read on.
But despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be the partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth.
Read.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
Not setting what?
By the honors of their fathers.
So we did not set by the honors of our fathers. Read on.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
We wanted to be just like them. We wanted to be just like the Grecians, just like we want to be like Americans. Want to vote and, look like them and so forth. Same thing. It started here. Go ahead.
By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them.
Mm-hmm.
For they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
Read.
Whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things.
We desire to be like them in everything. Go ahead.
For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God, but the time following shall declare these things.
Right. Now, go back. Let's go back. Let's go back and now let's get Acts chapter 10. Let's get Acts chapter. Let's see who was Cornelius.
Acts chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Now, band just means army. So he was enlisted in the army. Go back to Maccabees 10. First Maccabees 10 again. First Maccabees 10, I think it was 36. First Maccabees 10 and 36, right?
First Maccabees chapter 10 verse 36. I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews, unto whom pay shall be given as belongeth to all the king's forces.
Right. So you think the same thing they go on during the Roman captivity? No, same thing. We was enlisted in the Roman army. We was citizens of Rome. We was enlisted in their armies. Okay. Now go back. Give me Luke 3 and 14.
Luke chapter 3 verse 14.
Hey, I had other pages, right? Let me see those.
And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages.
Right. So these brothers obviously were Israelites in the Roman army. They say, yo, how can we repent? Christ let them know look, don't do no violence to nobody. Okay? Don't defraud your brother. All right? Don't be covetous. All right? Hey, read this. We got another page right here. Read this. This is my last page. All right. Read that.
There were, without doubt, many Judeans living in Rome and in other Italian cities before Pompey's conquest.
Read it again.
There were, without doubt, many Judeans living in Rome and in other Italian cities before Pompey's conquest.
Right. We was always in Rome. We was always in Rome. All right? And other Italian cities, not just Rome. We was all over Italy. All over Italy. Before Pompey's conquest. All right? Before his conquest. Okay, which was 63 BC. All right? So go back.
Acts chapter 10 verse 2. A devout man, and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people, and prayed to God always.
Hey, so it said Cornelius was a devout. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me Acts 18 and 2. Give me Acts 18 and 2.
Acts chapter 18 verse 2.
Yes, sir.
And found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy.
Lately, they came from where?
Italy.
They came from Italy. They came from Rome. This is during the reign of Claudius. We was banished out of Rome. He kicked us out because of a disturbance. When we was on the streets preaching, bringing out this truth at that time. There was a disturbance, an uproar. So he's like, yo, y'all got to go. He banished us out of Rome. So read that again.
And found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy.
Lately come from Italy. Lately come from Italy. All right. Now, go back. Verse 2. We're just going to jump. We ain't going to jump around.
Acts chapter 10, verse 2. A devout man, and one that feared God with all his house.
What it means to be devout. Give me Acts 22 and 12. Acts 22 and 12.
Acts chapter
what it means to be devout.
Acts chapter 22, verse 12. And one Ananias, a devout man according to the law.
A devout man according to what?
The law.
Who were the laws given to? The Israelites. The laws is only given to Israel. The laws are only given to Israel. Read it again.
Yeah. And one Ananias, a devout man according to the law.
According to the law. The law. Let's go back.
Acts chapter 10, verse 2.
Read.
A devout man, and one that feared God with all his house.
I'm sorry. Dang. Give me Acts 2 and 5. I'm sorry. Acts 2 and 5. Acts 2 and 5. Remember, we were scattered. Before you get that, give me Deuteronomy 4:27. Deuteronomy 4:27. 4:27, real quick.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen.
So the Lord scattered us among all the nations of the earth, to the four corners of the earth. Read it again.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen.
Among the heathen, we will be left few in number. We were scattered amongst the heathen. Okay, starting with the Assyrian captivity. Go ahead.
whither the Lord shall lead you.
Right. Now, get me from there. From there, get me John 7:35. John 7:35. We became Gentiles. We became Gentiles.
John chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves,
Then said the Jews among themselves, read,
whither will he go that we shall
where
not
will Christ go? Read,
that we shall not find him?
that we won't find him. Where is he going that we can't find him? Read.
Will he go unto the dispersed?
Wait, will he go to the dispersed, the scattered, the diaspora of the Jews? Read.
Among the Gentiles?
Among the Gentiles. Read.
And teach the Gentiles?
And teach those Jews that became Gentiles scattered among the Gentiles. Is that where Christ's going? Read it again.
Then said the Jews among themselves,
Mm-hmm.
whither will we go that we shall not find him?
Read.
Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles?
Will he go to the scattered Jews among the Gentiles? Read.
And teach the Gentiles?
And teach those nations of Jews that was scattered among the heathen, among the Gentiles. All right. Now, from there, give me Acts 2 and 5.
Acts chapter 2, verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were
Read
confounded.
5 again. 5 again.
And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven.
How did we get there? We were scattered. We were scattered. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, according to the law, out of every nation under heaven. Jump down to 10, verse 10.
Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene,
Go ahead.
and strangers of Rome.
Strangers of who? Where?
Of Rome.
Strangers of Rome. Read.
Jews and proselytes.
Right. Jews and proselytes. James 1 and 1. James 1 and 1. James 1 and 1. Y'all know these scriptures already.
James chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greeting.
Read it again.
James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
The dispersed, the diaspora, the scattered. That's been scattered abroad. The 12 tribes scattered abroad. All right. We became Gentiles. Okay. From there, let's go back to Cornelius. We're going to jump around.
Acts chapter 10, verse 2. A devout man, and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people, and prayed to God always. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of God coming into him, and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thy alms are come up for a memorial before God.
So he told Cornelius, yo, your prayers and your alms are come up to the Lord as a memorial. Go ahead. So that's what we hope, that our prayers and our alms come up before the Lord as a memorial. That's what we want. That's what we hope for, right? Go ahead.
And now send men to Joppa, and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside.
Jump to 28. We're just going to jump around.
Verse 28. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation.
What do that mean? Why is he saying that? Read it again.
And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation.
So he said, this is Peter. Peter came unto Cornelius, and he said, it's an unlawful thing for a Jew to keep company of a man of another nation. What do you mean by another nation? Remember, going back to John 4, the Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans. The Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans. What do you mean by another nation? Remember the split? There was a split. Give me Ezekiel 37. there was a split. Ezekiel 37. One of another nation. One of another nation.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land.
Read.
And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
What verse you at?
Verse 22.
Oh, go ahead.
And one king shall be king to them all. And they
Read
shall
22 again.
And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all.
So this is when Christ returns. He's going to make us one nation. He's going to make us one nation. Read on. Read 22 from the top again.
And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
Read.
And one king shall be king to them all.
Our Lord Christ. Read.
And they shall be no more two nations.
They shall be no more what?
Two nations.
They shall be no more two nations. They shall be no more split into two nations. There's not going to be a northern and southern kingdom when Christ returns. There's going to be one nation from Judah all the way to Naphtali. All right? So Christ said he's going to join us back as one. There's not going to be that breach. All right? Read it again.
And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
Right. Northern and southern kingdom. All right. Northern and southern kingdom. Why was we divided? Going the history of the split. We've been dealing with that. The split. Why did the Ephraimite sister say, oh, but the Jews don't have no dealings with the Samaritans? Because of the split. Because we became two nations. Now we get to Cornelius and Peter like, yo, you know it's an unlawful thing for us to keep company of one of another nation. Meaning what? Northern kingdom. That was the other nation he was referring to. All right. Go back to Acts.
Acts chapter 10, verse 28. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But God hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
Right. All right. So Cornelius was of the northern kingdom. Let's further prove that. 34.
Verse 34. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, Of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him. The word.
Verse 36.
The word which God sent unto the children of Israel.
Read it again.
The word which God sent unto the children of Israel.
So let me know Cornelius was an Israelite. Self-explanatory. Cornelius was an Israelite. All right? He was an Israelite. All right. From there. About a couple more scriptures. Get me... Go back to Hosea 1 and 9.
Hosea chapter 1 verse 9. Then said God, Call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people,
in the place where it was said unto us, You are not my people. Go ahead.
There it shall be.
Because why? We became what? Gentiles. All right. We call Americans, called black, Puerto Ricans. We called Dominicans, West Indians. All right. So we became Gentiles. We wouldn't be under our God-given name. We would be under the names of our slave masters. All right? Read that again.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God.
So we're hearing that now. We're hearing that now. The prophets are going out throughout the four corners of the earth, letting our people know ye are the children of the living God. So all praises for that thing. All praises for that thing. All right. Verse 11.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together.
Read that again.
Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together.
So then we'll be gathered together as one nation. Read.
And appoint themselves one head.
Read, which is Christ. Read.
And they shall come up out of the land. For great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Right. For great shall be the day of Jezreel. So now we understand why Christ said in John, go back to John, go to John, I think it's 11. John 10:14. John 10:14.
John chapter 10, verse 14. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep,
So Christ said, I'm the good shepherd, and I know my sheep. Go ahead.
and am known of mine.
Mm-hmm.
As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father.
Read.
And I lay down my life for the sheep.
Read.
As other sheep I have,
And Christ said, and other sheep I have, read on,
which are not of this fold.
which are not of this fold, southern kingdom, which is not of the fold that he's talking to right now. Read.
Them also I must bring.
So who's other sheep? Northern kingdom. That's the other sheep. The 10 tribes that went off and was not called God's people. Christ said, I got to bring them back into the fold. Go ahead.
And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
So there should be one fold, meaning we will become one nation, and Christ will be our head. Read.
Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father.
Right. All right. Give me Acts 15 and 14. You start at 13.
Acts chapter 15, verse 13.
Start at 12.
Verse 12. Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them.
Mm-hmm.
And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying, Men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simeon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles.
Whoa. So Simeon, which was Peter, did what?
Have declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles.
When that happened? Acts chapter 10. We just read it with Cornelius. Said he did visit the Gentiles. Go ahead. Watch this.
To take out of them a people for his name.
To take out of them a people for his name. Read.
And to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written, After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. And I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up.
So read 14 and 15 again. 14 to 16.
Simeon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name.
So God did visit the Gentiles to take out a people for his name, which was back in Acts chapter 10. That was Cornelius. And we just proved that Cornelius was an Israelite. Why was he called a Gentile? Because he was following the, remember, they went off. Northern Kingdom went off. The split. Go ahead.
And to this agree the words of the prophets.
Northern Kingdom went off, and then remember in Maccabees during the Greek captivity, guess what? We were scattered abroad, and we wanted to follow the customs of what? The Greeks. And some of us was forced, and many of us was forced to follow those customs, or we would be put to death. So we became Gentiles. Some of us willingly became Gentiles. Some of us were forced to become Gentiles. Go ahead.
As it is written, after this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David.
The tabernacles of David is all Israel. The tabernacle of David is all Israel. So those Gentiles you're referring to, there was Israel. Right? That was Israel. Okay, read it again.
After this I will return, and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. And I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up.
So building, closing that breach. All right. So the Lord is saying, look, I'm going to close that breach. I'm going to build again the tabernacles of David. What happened? There was a split. All right. There was a split. So that's the history that I was going over, trying to show you that, look, we became Gentiles. Northern Kingdom became Gentiles. All right. That's that fold that is spoken about in the New Testament that had to come back in, that Christ was speaking of, that had to come back into the fold. All right. To become one fold. It was talking about the Northern Kingdom. All right. So listen, I'm going to end it there. I hope y'all took something from the class. Okay. Next class. What else I was going to talk about next class? Oh, the famine. Yeah. All right. I see. All right. So Lord, life lasts, Lord's will. All right. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. Most High in Christ bless. This is History in the AM. Officer Jazz. All right. Shalom.
He will avenge them.